now, and there you go. We'll let people in as we go. But I'm going to share share my screen now, if that's okay. And there we go. And right, so hopefully now, give us a thumbs up if you can see Becky's profile on here, if you would.
Mhm.
Give me the confidence that the technology is behaving itself. Fantastic. Are we looking to get anyone else into the room? I don't think so. No people are coming in. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, right. Excuse me. So what we're talking about today is LinkedIn, but let me just get rid of that. We are talking very specifically about basics. So so I just want to manage that that's what we're kind of talking about, if that's okay. So and thank you to Becky for kind of volunteering, if that's okay. Oh gosh, there we go. Right. So the first thing is my question of you is why are you on here? I just want you to reflect on that. Why are you on LinkedIn? And I want to ask that in the context of, welcome if you just joined, in the context of what is it you want LinkedIn to do for you? So if I can, I'm gonna excuse me, I'm gonna ask first thing in the chat box. It's always interesting where people are coming in from. Can you just put in the chat box about whereabouts in the country, or even if you're overseas, whereabouts you are, and can you score yourself in terms of confidence, your confidence in using LinkedIn? That would be really helpful to know, and we'll see if we get a chance to kind of move the dial, if you like, as we go through this. So, right, I have I've already got a volunteer, which is Becky. So, Becky, what we're going to do is actually, at first sight, Becky has a pretty good, I would argue, a pretty good looking profile. Now, so we got okay. So we got Angela from Oldham, Gwyneth from Warwick. Leeds 2 out of 10 for Claire. Okay, right. We'll see what we can do for that, Claire. So going through, hopefully you can see Becky's profile here. We have got what I would call a pretty perfect photo. Becky's face. And the measure is, would I recognise Becky in if she was waiting in reception, waiting to meet with me, or in a coffee shop, or whatever happened to be? Would I recognise, or would we recognise Becky? Chances are that we would. And the reason I say that is that there's plenty of light on Becky's face. Her face is taking up approximately a third to a quarter of the screen, and I see lots of different photos. People in, that's the measure. Would I recognise you in reception? So I see lots of different photos on here, out of focus. There might be years out of date even, so just be careful about that. There might be too close up, and I can't really hear what you're saying. Just one second. I'm just going to there we go. Right. So I would recognise Becky. So the photo isn't too close up. It's just right. We will recognise her. Here's the other thing as well. We have got some solid, what I would call solid gold digital real estate here that's going on. Now, Becky, if I'm honest, I'm not an artist. I'm more of a Turner guy than, shall we say, a Lucian Freud guy. So I'm not quite sure what this is. Is it aligned to what you want out of LinkedIn? Now, what you want out of LinkedIn can be different things. Today, versus 6 months time or even 6 months ago. It says here you're open to work. So I take it you're looking for a new role in some respect. And this is
Yeah.
public domain. I'm not being indiscreet. So just make sure. So that doesn't really tell me anything, if I'm absolutely honest, about Becky. Now, so just bear that in mind. I'm going to bring
Yeah.
my, and I hope you take that in the most positive sense. I'm going to bring my own profile up just for a second, if Wi-Fi does its thing, and just kind of show you what I've done with mine. It's is it best practice? It's good enough for me, and LinkedIn works for me. But I just want you to bear in mind what's going on in your own world, so you can see that there's no surprise. I'm a sales trainer. It says that on my LinkedIn profile, and here you can see. And if it may be unimaginative, but it is at least aligned to what I do, so people will get a context in which kind of adds value or reinforces the message of my LinkedIn profile. So that's worth bearing in mind. Excuse me. Pressing on here. So if I can just ask, because I can't find the button, if everyone can put themselves on mute, if you don't mind, that would be, if you don't mind, be really helpful. Thank you. Right. So the next thing is we've got open to opportunities here. I don't know what that is. Open to work. Now the green. Now, unfortunately, the sign of the times, and there have been some new figures out from the Chancellor today of the Exchequer, that unfortunately many more people are going to be looking for roles over the next 3, 6, 9 months. Fortunately, it's a really tough time. Nothing I can do about that. And what that means is that there are going to be many, many people that use this green flash to signal that they are open to work. And people and the market, recruiters, if that's who you're aiming at, or hiring managers, are therefore going to be desensitized to that flash, because loads of people, unfortunately, are going to have that. So here's my advice to Becky, and relevant advice for others that are in the same situation, is that you need to edit your profile. I'm going to have to go to mine, because obviously I'm logged on to mine. Is edit your profile, and in the very top, you can where I've got here, I'm going to suggest to you that you put in capitals available for, and then the kind of work, specific kind of work that you're looking for. You've got about 3 to 7 seconds when someone lands on your profile to either poke them in the eye, as I call it, or grab their attention, or they'll swipe left and move on to the, or whatever the phrase is, and move on to the next profile. So let's assume it's 3 seconds. So the right photo, it makes you 14 times more likely that someone will stay on your profile and keep reading about you. And then make it easy for them, for whoever's looking at it, hiring manager, or if someone's looking at buying your services. If we've got our own business, and we want our profile therefore to be on LinkedIn, and what do we want LinkedIn to do for us? It's something slightly different. We're still buying that person, of course. We're buying into the concept of that person. I don't want to get too philosophical about this, but anyway, there's a point that you're on here, and you want to advantage yourself as much as possible. So make it obvious. I'll remedy my profile afterwards anyway. So I'll save that, and now you can see in capitals, front and center, poking you in the eye, available for sales training, whatever it is. So Becky, you're going to make those changes, I would have thought, to make it obvious the kind of work that you're looking for. And just in case anyone's thinking about, I'm open to anything, I just want to go to work, I'm afraid the world doesn't really work like that. it's like if you try selling to everyone, you'll end up selling to no one. You've got to know what you're, just like having your own business, you need to know what your target market, your target customer looks like. You are going to, if you're looking for work, you're going to need to know what your skills and experience is going to add up to something that makes you relevant for a certain range of jobs, and you're going to have to target your profile in that guise. Okay, so we can also see now, if I may say so, Becky has got a relatively straightforward name to pronounce here. I'm just going to go to mine though, because just in case, and most people would know how to pronounce Roselle, but there, can you see a speaker button just here as I'm circling my cursor? Now I've shared my screen, so I just want to, yeah, computer symbols, that person. I'm just going to press a button here, because on your own profile, if you go to your own profile now, you should see a button. If I press the button,
Keith Roselle.
okay, so I've just said exactly how my name should be pronounced. You will have I think it's called pronunciation, the name of the button when on your own profile. So as a professional kindness to everyone that visits your profile, I would do that. It kind of shows, shall we say, an empathy to your market, and that's absolutely worth doing. Okay, the next thing is, so we can see here the kind of work that Becky has been doing, and that puts you, that's really helpful. We can see here you've got a number of connections now, and that shows that you kind of use it, which is good. Let's have a look at contact info, if you don't mind, Becky. So now I'm going to sound like a dad now, and that's because I've got 4 children, so there's no mistake in that. So what I would also, it's interesting, am I the only guy on this call? Because that is, I think I am actually. Gosh, that's unusual. Right. Okay, so I feel like I'm talking to the right audience at least. Your personal safety and security, I hope, goes without saying. That's paramount on here. And there are all kinds of people online. And actually, to be honest, this goes for men as well as women. So just be careful that you put just enough in your contact details. That's my point. Just enough in your contact details so that a hiring manager or a prospective customer can get a hold of you. But don't put your entire home address, including house number or apartment number, in there. If you're going to put your address in because you want to sort of signpost that you're in the West Midlands or in North Yorkshire or whatever it is, by all means put your city in there. If I just go to mine a second to point that out in my contact information. So you see, I've got my Twitter, very comfortable people knowing my Twitter, although I'm not a great user of it. My direct email address, I work between York, Birmingham, and obviously online. My mobile phone number, which I'm comfortable having on there, and I work with some clients internationally, so my country code is in there as well, and people know that's my mobile phone number. I do a podcast, so that's in there as well. And my company website's in there. And that's obviously my my LinkedIn address. So as we go across to Becky, you're going to need to think about Becky. I would suggest that at least your email address should be in there. And just in case your email address is psychowoman@gmail.com, think about your email address. You would not believe what I see as someone's personal email address. It makes me believe, they're not an executive assistant at all. They've got some other kind of career on the go. So just think about it in terms of someone else if they're looking at your profile, your email address for the first time. So just for that, I'm sure Becky's is very responsible. So big nods from Becky there. So that's good. But you released your email address and whatever telephone number you want to get contacted on. And we don't even have a landline at home. It's my mobile phone all the time, and I'm comfortable giving that out. And I've never had any problems. You can put your birthday in there if you want to. Don't have to. You won't be given the option for your year anyway. So and I'm very conscious of ageism and all of that. So Anyway, so you've got the idea there. So your contact details need to be in there. This is also good. So Becky's been to university, University of Brighton. So I'm going to presume you've got an undergraduate degree, Becky, but that doesn't appear up here. So if you're entitled to have a BA honours or a BSc or whatever it is, I would actually put that up there because I feel that, and maybe I've just got this thing about never having got the chance to go to university, but it could be, but I would want to know who I'm talking to, and we all need to advantage ourselves as much as possible. So if you've got a university degree, fantastic, but you need to change. What you do is you'll edit your surname and you'll put BA honours, whatever it happens to be. If you've got a 2-1 or above, that's very positive. That's worth advertising. If you've got a first class degree, then I'd put that in there as well. Now, if you've got more than one
It's a
degree,
first year certificate.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you for that. Whatever it is, put it in the most positive light. And if you've got more than one degree, a master's or whatever it happens to be, I would just put the highest degree that you've got. Now, if it's not a degree, if you're a member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, then I would also put that in there. Or if you're a fellow of the CIPD, your professional nomenclature, if you like, that goes in there as well, because that's all, credibility, brownie points, equity, brand equity towards, brand Becky or brand Angela or whatever it happens to be. And it says here that Becky is in London. Now, we are moving to an online world, so I invite you to at least think about this. It's not a recommendation, it's just think about it. Most of us, in fact, probably 90% of us are working remotely. I certainly am. And so it doesn't really matter what city we're located in for the most part. You could, if you wanted to, just put United Kingdom in there. At least I would know what country that you're in. We're in the same time zone. So just reflect on that a little bit. Okay. So we know we're open to opportunities. We've got all that. And we're open to it, and the kind of work we're open to. Again, the reason why I suggested it in capitals is so that as soon as my eyes land on Becky's profile on her photo, I also catch what she's available for, and that helps me stay on there because it's relevant, or move on. Because what you don't want is calls that are not relevant to you or approaches that are not relevant to you. Okay, brilliant. So in the about section, which is your opportunity to sell self, what you do, your value proposition. Your value proposition could be for the new role that you want to secure, or if you're in sales or you've got your own business, then the new contract, the new client that you want to secure. So here in about, this is the context of this is what other people can achieve by working through you. I'll just say that again. What other people can achieve through working through you. Now, it's going to take some thinking about. What do you help other people achieve? Gwyneth's got a creative business, and they can achieve creative results by working with Gwyneth's business, and that needs to be reflected in Gwyneth's profile. Becky, I am guessing, helps people help people capitalize on their time by making them more productive and taking away, should we say, the administrative heavy tasks, perhaps running calendars, organizing meetings. There's a level of, and you're interesting that you're an executive assistant as opposed to a regular assistant. So maybe that sort of implies perhaps a higher level of professionalism and experience that might not be. There's a way to differentiate yourself from others, because there are going to be lots of others competing for similar roles as well. I can't remember the last stats, but I was aware of a bar do they call them bartenders these days? But anyway, someone working behind a bar, it was advertised 2-3 months ago. They would normally expect something around 50 applications for a role. There were 984 applications for that particular bartender's role. And it will be a different number for executive assistants or business owners, but that sort of change in circumstances is going to be reflected along the board, across the board. So that's why you're going to have to really think about the words that you use. There should be really positive messages in that. And here, your about section, the reason I'm majoring on this is because you really want to tell people what they can achieve through you. Your first 3 lines will come up anyway. So they've got the goal of those first 3 lines is for people, or to make people click on this area here, which is see more. And I'm not going to, so there's a story here which is interesting, but the most important thing about Becky's first 3 lines here is who she is, what she's about, and what people can achieve by hiring Becky. So Becky, my constructive critique is this is all about you, and it should be half about you and half about what you will help others to achieve by hiring you, if that's okay. Right, so next we're going to come in, we can see Becky's, okay, so here's another message, and I probably don't need to say this, but we live in an online world. We all need to behave ourselves online, and again, I feel sure I shouldn't need to say this, but I will say it anyway. But everything you do is on LinkedIn, apart from a direct message to me or someone else, which is a peer-to-peer connection. Everything is visible. So just don't put anything in writing that you wouldn't be proud to see on the front page of the Times or something like that. Okay, so I'm sorry if that sounds obvious, but I feel the need to make it. So anyway, we can see what kind of stuff Becky's into, so Becky seems like a really positive person to have around. There's lots of positive affirmations going on for other people in here. We can get that impression straight away. It's quite scary how much we can find out about someone even before we've contacted them. And 70%, loads of research around 70% of anyone that contacts you, whether it's to approach you with a business opportunity or whether it's a new job opportunity, 70% of people will have done that is a buying signal all of its own. They'll have done their research about you to get to this stage. They will know things about you from your behaviors and your actions online. Okay, so we have here a list of Becky's experiences. Okay, so you became, okay, right. So, and in here, it's got to be a combination of what you did, your job function, if you like, job description, but more importantly, what you achieved. Now, that's not always easy to articulate, particularly if you're in a should we say, a reactive role supporting a managing director or something like that. So I'd want to know, and I think you're alluding to this in your KPMG experience, Becky, what level of person you worked at. So were you used to working with what I would call C-suite executives? So you worked with KPMG partners, big brand there, so lots of bragging rights for Becky there in terms of the brand that you've worked for. Management, so you would flourish, if that's what you want, by the way, in a professional services environment, and you're used to working, which is highly regulated, so you would be comfortable and competent in that kind of a break. Excuse me, in that kind of not break. I was reading the next line. In that kind of an environment, we've got to. Yes, here's another thing. Now, my wife. The reason I know a bit about this now. My wife is an HR director, and I will tell you now, if she looks on your LinkedIn and there are any breaks in there, her working assumption is that you've gone to prison. Okay, so I'm just going to let that sink in a second. So now actually, she exaggerates, to emphasize the point. And this goes importantly for your CV as well. If you've got any breaks in your LinkedIn, people won't get to your CV without seeing your LinkedIn profile first. Make sure all the dates kind of line up. Even if, and the reason I mention that is you've been very sensibly, Becky, you put in here, you're traveling. So that accounts for Becky's break here. This is a really good thing. My children have been traveling. They put it in their LinkedIn as well. It's a valid reason. Even my local GP surgery, it's written into their contracts that they have to take a 3-month break every 5 years. I think it's a very accepted situation, particularly this year more than any, that we will be taking time out for self. It's a very valid, it won't raise any eyebrows. You've done that. In fact, people will look upon that favorably, that you're looking after yourself. So here's an opportunity in your career break. You went traveling. I'd be fascinated to know, where did you go? Why did you go there? Without being War and Peace, but that would be really interesting. That would be really interesting to find out and tell us an opportunity to tell us a bit about you. Are you interested in different cultures? That might make you especially relevant for a global or international organization where you could be, videoing or conversing or engaging with people from all over the world. You would be a safe pair of hands, maybe, to put in that kind of environment. That would add to the, there's only upside from doing something like that. And then you've got 10 years of KPMG, which is fantastic. It says where you worked, we're mainly London, and exactly who you're with. Again, a bit of what you did, but most of what you achieved. And we're not going to be able to go into that on this call, but it will be, what you achieved is really, really important. You're going to have to put some thought into that. Similarly, if you've got your own business, then it will be what you helped your clients achieve. And if there's any numbers in there, that brings it to life. It contextualizes what you're all about. So if you were doing some work, let's say that you were doing some graphic design work on behalf of a client, what the mission was, and perhaps the mission was to attract the number of people visiting a website, the footfall or whatever it's called in the website world. You want to attract the number of visits to a website. Did you do that? Where were they at? Perhaps they were at 10,000 unique visits per month before you got involved, and you increased it, 5-fold or 10-fold. So that's what you achieved. So what you did was you created some great images and some content, but actually the real outcome is what you help your client achieve, which is more traffic, therefore more business opportunity. And so in my world, I teach people, to get good on LinkedIn or to get good on the phone. I helped someone last month improve their telephone skills, and they generated 30% more appointments for their sales team. That would be an example of something that I achieved, but that's my world, not necessarily your world. Your world, if you're an EA, might be that I took off all the diary management from the KPMG partner, and that freed them up to have an hour and a half more of client time every day, something like that. That would be what you help that person achieve. Always put it in the other person's role, in the other person's terms, I beg your pardon. So, okay, so here we go. Here's what we're, and this is what should appear up on the top next to Becky's name, the BA ONS, etc., etc. Here's an important point: skills and endorsements. And I've got to believe you've got some, Becky, if you mind me saying so. So whatever, now you can choose up to 50 skills in LinkedIn. Pick, but you can only show the top 3. I can click down and see some more. But in terms of the top 3 that we've got up here, what are the skills out of all the ones you've chosen? What are the 3 skills you want to be known for or want to use in your next role? So, and get endorsements on those. And you've got endorsements down here for some of these, which is great. But so just about think about the three that are showing: diary management, Microsoft Outlook, confidentiality. I think you're streets beyond that. You should be looking for something more, be interesting to see what a fee earning partner is interested in. And I've got to believe it's beyond diary management. So have a look, just reassess what skills and endorsements. I'll just show you mine just for reference, if I may, which is down here. So I want to be known for, here we go. So I want to be known for sales. That's what I do. Public speaking and strategy as well. And I've got skills and endorsements for some of those, but not as nearly as many as one. So those are the top three that I want to be known for. Therefore, I put them at the very top. So they're very easy for people to endorse me. Let's go back to Becky's again in relation to the next most important thing, which is, well, you haven't got any at all. That's interesting. Okay, so recommendations is the next one. They don't appear on Becky's. I presume, Becky, because you haven't asked anyone to recommend you on LinkedIn, but you have. I'm getting an F. Right, let me go back there. Recommendations, interests. I can't see.
I've asked lots of people, but I haven't had anything back.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, all right then. Okay, right. Well, I'll show you via mine, and that can happen. People are really busy, and all the rest of it. So, I ask for recommendations. I ask them by habit, just a habit. If I'm doing some work with someone, and you need to make it a habit of yours as well. If you've got your own business, you do some work, and it's all gone well, which I'm sure it has. Ask for a recommendation on LinkedIn. The reason being is it's working for you 24 hours a day. It's not something you have to send to someone. Someone can. That's why research is so easy to do these days, and how powerful it is. So it puts you in the most positive light possible. And the reason why it can be important is if I happen to be up against another sales coach to do some work for someone, if they've got, I don't know, 10 recommendations, which is still a decent number, I've got 80, that might swing the balance between giving a job to me or to someone else. And because this is, I'm not bad at what I do. I'm pretty good at what I do. I recognize I'm not unique. There's plenty of other people in this space as well. So I think they're all good. And even but I also give recommendations as well. If someone's done some work for me, then I equally give them. I just believe that's a really positive thing to do. Now, if you're, I don't know about you, but when I write recommendations or when I request them, I find it very hard to go from a blank sheet of paper to a completed recommendation. So if I was, for instance, and don't take this as read, Becky, but if I was to go onto your profile here, since we're connected, and go up, the way that you ask for a I don't know how you ask for a recommendation, Becky, you don't have to ask it. If you go into someone's profile like this, click on more, and request a recommendation like that. You can select the recommendation. I'm going to say Becky was a client of mine, and this is where I was when we worked together, my current company. If you leave it just in its current state, it's just going to say, "Can you write me a recommendation?" Well, we're all incredibly busy, and that's not really fair on people. So I would, first of all, I would always end it with please. It's just me, but that's what I do. And I would put number one, I'd like to be known for my coaching style. You will have, what do you want to be known for? And it's always related to your next job or your next contract. What do you want to be known for? What's the direction you're moving in? So I'm not putting words in someone's mouth, but I'm saying it would be really helpful if you would, and that's helpful to them as well, because then they can use their own words. It's authentic. No one's going to give you anything that they don't truly believe. I just don't think that would happen. So I put 3 things, no more than that. Would you mind writing about these things? And that would be really helpful. Let me just come out of there. But that's how to request. That's the sort of etiquette or protocol, if you like, for, and it maximizes your chances of getting a recommendation back because you've made it easy for them. So, right, let me just go down my list of things to talk about. Now, I haven't opened the chat box. We probably can do this. Does anyone got any questions so far? Do you want to come off of mute and ask any questions, or do you want to put them in the chat box? I'm happy to take a question, or if not, I'll just carry on. It's ever so quiet, which is okay. All right, okay. So where are we going next? Right, I'm going to talk about the next part of this, going back onto mine again, which is your dashboard. And your dashboard tells you a few things. I'm going to have to use mine because it's, as you can see, it's private to me. Becky's, your dashboard will be private to you. Excuse me. So it's going to tell you a number of things, but this is really interesting. So I'm going to go from right to left. So how many times you've appeared in search appearances will be really a measure of some kind for you. So if that's going up each week, or if it's at a reasonable level, that will be really interesting for you to understand where you are now and where you're going towards. So that's helpful. If you've made a post recently, then this will tell you how many times it's been viewed. I'm just going to click on that. I made one earlier on this morning that amused me and I thought was kind of relevant, and so this is what I've done, and this gives me a sense of engagement on it, and I could get leads for my business or leads for my next new job in terms of understanding who's liked that or commented on it. I can go into the post and I can if I get a list, there'll be some people that I'm not actually connected to yet. I'm sure, here we go. So here's some people that are outside my first line connections, and I can go to and connect with them directly. I could say, it's not really in my target market, but just to illustrate making connections, is I'm going to go on to Emiko's profile here. She probably needs to come onto this program as well, and I could send it. In fact, it's already pending, so forget that. But anyway, point being is that you can pick up more first line connections in the relevant first line connections in your area of expertise that will help you get to where you need to go. That would be a way of doing that. Okay, back to profile again and dashboard. So, and also, so number of views, help me know how that post is doing. Here's who's viewed your profile, and assuming you've got and I've only got a basic LinkedIn subscription that I can survive perfectly fine without paying for an upgraded subscription. This will give you an indication of who's looked at your profile, assuming the way they've got their profile set up allows you to get their name and or the first part of their profile. Now it looks like a number of people have viewed my profile in private mode, which means someone at Salesforce, I don't know, someone at Salesforce has viewed my profile, loads of them. I don't know why that would be. I haven't upset anyone. Anyway, point being is if my name came up on Gwyneth's profile that I'd looked over her profile, we happen to be connected, but she could come back to me and say something, very polite and engaging. Thanks, Keith, for looking over my profile. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help you. That would be one way. Or, good to see you looking over my profile. Is there any particular reason? Have you got anything going on that you want to chat to me about? First of all, I'm always happy to give someone a free 15-minute consultation. If there's anything they want to chat through, I would make that offer. There's no obligation. It's low tension. And you know, ironic given I'm a salesperson, but you know, I'm not going to give you a sales pitch only if we've both decided it's a good thing to do this. Now, Amy says, how does the connect thing work? If I accept a request, will this person be able to contact directly every person? Okay, so if someone connects with you, are they going to be able to contact everyone that you're connected to? And it depends how your LinkedIn profile is set up, to be honest. And that's quite a detailed question. So you are, I'm not going to do this on this call, Amy, but you are going to have to go over here to work and settings, how you've got management settings. Maybe it's under me here. Yeah, settings and privacy. There is a way that you can prevent people looking at all of your connections. If you choose to do that, I have to say, so here's the big thing about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not a relationship. It is an online relationship, but it's not a relationship. So even if someone clicked on my profile and let's say I do business with Becky, they are not all of a sudden going to be able to get steam in and you know, push me out the way and do business with Becky, because people do business hopefully on just a bit more about that. It's about a relationship. It's about trust. You don't get trust in a relationship simply by having, you know, a first line connection with someone on LinkedIn. I hope that translated okay. It is so much more than that. And also there's lots of research around that says you're going to need to be connected with someone for quite some time before any business ensues. So please don't be the person that connects with Gwyneth, let's say, immediately followed up by a sales pitch, because there's nothing more tiresome than someone who's constantly in buy my product mode. Everyone will, you know, dissociate themselves from you. You'll be desensitized to what you can offer. You may offer something that's absolutely wonderful, but if you're constantly in transmit or sales mode, it's really tiresome. Take it from a salesperson who's made those errors before. So don't be that person. Okay, right. So back to so job one, Becky, is get those recommendations flying in. I'll bet if you go on to people's profiles that you've worked for over perhaps the last 10 years, whatever it happens to be, contact them, use that box, recommendation box, and make it easy for them. Could you please, you know, in your own words, talk about my style? Do you trust me? You know, stuff like that. Make it easy for them to write about. Similarly, Gwyneth, for your customers, if you want recommendations, do the same thing. Click on their connection. Please give me something like that. Okay, and activities and experiences, volunteering. Now, this year, more than anything, it's really interesting. For the last 5 years, there's been this kind of conversation about, is LinkedIn becoming too much like Facebook? And I've always had my suspicions the last sort of couple of years it was going that way anyway, because actually at its heart is people. But I think right here, right now, 7 or 8 months into this pandemic, in the UK at least, I think it is becoming more like Facebook, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So we talk about B2B, business to business. We talk about B2C, even business to consumer. But I think this is about P2P, which is people to people. So there's a very humanitarian side of LinkedIn, which actually I'm not uncomfortable with. And how I've noticed it is when people make posts, me for instance, it always used to be a video-driven platform. I'm not sure that's the case. I think it's changing. A great image definitely helps if you're making a post, and I'll go through making a post in a second. I'm conscious of time also, but if you can introduce a human element to your story, because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for hope, humanity, goodness, positivity, all those things, particularly as we, in the run up to Christmas, when we've become a very reflective kind of people. If you can introduce that element, then your post will stand more chance of being engaged upon. So I'm gonna go through the, and I don't apologize for this being really basic, but the one thing I come across, and I've done 14 of these this year, the LinkedIn things, and here's what I get most is, what do I need to make a post? And I've come across, and you don't need to put your hands up or anything, but people are kind of fearful, particularly, if I may say, early stage career people, graduates maybe, or people coming out of school, going on to the workforce. Is, you know, why would people want to see a post from me? I know nothing about the world of work, or whatever's going through their mind. So it takes a bit of courage, to make a post, but that's all it needs. And be very definite about what you're trying to do. So to make a post, I'm going to have to go to mine, I'm afraid. 1 second, let's go home. And I'll show you the 3 top things that you need to be doing. First of all, making a post is, we click on button, start a post. We are going to have a form of words, and I'm not very good at typing, so it's just going to be gibberish, but your message, think about it in advance. What is your message? And it needs to be something that you think is going to be relevant and engaging to others. So let's just say that's a really compelling message that I've got up there. I am then going to select an image or a video that goes with that. So if you can see here, I've got 3 options, which is the photo, video, or document. I'm going to go on photos. It's going to take me to my images catalog, or my pictures, if you like. I'm going to go with images. I'm just going to select any old one. Here we go. So maybe I'm going to do something. Oh, here's one I was going to do. There you go. Right. So I was going to. Has anyone been on a Zoom call? You go to end it, and then you can't find the button that says. It tricks you by accident. You press on the red button that says end meeting, and then it says end meeting for all. And you're looking someone in the eyes and trying to think, come on, get the end meeting for all. And that awkward moment for just a half a second or so. So anyway, that's why I downloaded that photo. So if I was going to make a post about that, that would be the image. It's a little bit engaging. It's got a curious, it's not your everyday image. You won't be desensitized to that. People are going to look at that in their time. I'm going to go, oh, what's that? So you can tag people. Don't abuse this, but you can tag people. So if we're on this call, Gwyneth's on the line, so I might want to tag Gwyneth. I might want to tag Becky, and oh goodness, 1 second. And very sensitive mouse. There we go. Right, let's try that again. Make the post. There we go. Right, let's try that again, shall we? Right, never mind, we'll do another one. Right, so we're going to tag Becky, etc. So we can tag up to 30 people on here. So if you're in a big webinar, bigger than this, and you took a photo, you could grab your photo and you could tag 30 people. That's the maximum guidelines that LinkedIn allows you. You could then, when you're done with that, you've got your text here, which we talked about earlier. That's your compelling message. What do you want people to be thinking about? What do you want? Here's the thing. What do you want people to say, do, or agree as a result of you having posted your post? And an engaging image, and then you're going to finish, I beg your pardon, with hashtags. Hashtags is a way of spreading the engagement beyond just your first line connections. So you could put in, if you do a hashtag here, let's say this is on wellness or well-being. What I could do is type in the first 1 or 2 letters of the word, and you'll see a range of options coming up on here. The first one is well-being at work, and that means that is the most popular W under all the hashtags. So if you put that hashtag in your post, it's going to dramatically increase the chances of engagement. And you can do that, you can do it lots of times. I wouldn't recommend, the right number of hashtags is between 3 and 5 on LinkedIn. If you have any less than 3, you may not get the cut, particularly if you've got a smaller number of connections, you may not get the coverage that ideally you'd like. If you have any more than 5, it looks a bit salesy, spammy, you know, people kind of, it doesn't attract people in the same way. So you could, anyway, I'm not going to go through all of that. And then you would, I'm not going to post that, obviously it's gibberish, but you would post it. My gotcha in amongst all of that, and I've got to believe, Becky, you're on the ball with this. I'm a bit of a grammar Nazi. It must be spelt correctly. And this is particularly true if English is not your mother tongue. It must be spelt correctly. If you need extra support around spellings and all of that, I would encourage you to write it in Word first and do a grammar check, and then cut and paste your words into your LinkedIn post. You know, don't let that be your Achilles heel. So I recognize there are some things that some people have to kind of deal with, but it is really important that you don't do anything to detract from your post. So that's a post. Now, in the last 5 minutes or so, let me tag the, right, thank you, right, discard that. Let's have a look at searching. Let's say we want to, because Becky, probably the best way you're going to land a new role is through your network, funnily enough. So you're warming up your network, perhaps a referral into another company, a recommendation, perhaps something like that. So you're going to need to, excuse me, search. Let's say, just for argument's sake, we want to find someone in Unilever, and the same is true, Gwyneth, of course, if you're looking for business opportunities, your target market. Let's say we want to find someone in Unilever, which is clearly a massive company. But let's do a search to see if LinkedIn is going to behave itself. And wonder of wonders, wouldn't you know, we put in Unilever and there are well over 500,000 results. We're not going to trawl through all of that, obviously. So what we would do, we want to narrow that down a little bit, but it does give us a range of options here. So up the top, you're going to see a number of different buttons. And I'm going to press the one on the right here called All Filters. And that's going to help me refine my search. So I want to find in Unilever. Let's say I'm looking for a job. So it's going to be probably going to be in the UK, Becky. That's right. You're not looking to move overseas, are you? Okay, right. So it's going to be in the UK, and I want it to come up with names that are still at Unilever, not people that have had Unilever in the past, people that are currently at Unilever. I'm going to scroll down for some more options, and one of those options is going to be right here, which is title. So I want to find someone in HR in Unilever in the UK, and always remember to press the blue button at the top, which is apply. That applies those filters, and then it will run the search for me again. I might need to press that again. There we go. It's going to go and do its thing now. Goes through, and we've gone from 500,000 results, and we're now down to 145. It's still a large number, but you'll agree it's much more tailored. And then we can simply scroll down to the person that looks like the right person for us. If you're an executive assistant, you probably want to be looking for, you know, directors in Unilever, or, you know, heads of talent acquisition or something like that. So you would go, let's click on Claire Snell. Let's find out about her. She's got an unusually open profile for someone as senior as that. Now, do you remember at the very beginning of this when we talked about Becky's photo and the banner up here? Now, Unilever are a massive company big on branding. As no surprise to find that Claire's face is probably a little bit too close up, if I'm absolutely honest, but she's the global HR director, so what do I know? But you see her banner photo here is very much aligned with what Claire does, and that's what I mean by it's got extra oomph, zing, whatever the word is, that it's brand alignment anyway. Now, I'll bet, well, first of all, we're not connected, so I'm only ever going to get Claire's LinkedIn profile in here. I'm not going to be able to get her phone number. We would need to be or an email address. We would, and sometimes then it still won't, it'll only give you what people have put in their box. She doesn't want phone calls from, the likes of me, I'm sure, at the minute, but there are other ways. So anyway, we can find out that she's been to the University of Birmingham. We can also establish that we've got a number of, well, one, there's a number, connections in common. So I could go to Melanie, say, to Melanie Woonwell, who I know well and have known for years and years and who trusts me. I could drop her a line and say, Melanie, can you do me a massive favor? I really want to get a meeting with Claire. Can you introduce me, put in a good word for me, something like that? And Mel, because she's that kind of person, she would. I've got no reason to speak to Claire, but I could ask that question. Similarly with you, when you search for your contacts, your target contact list, if you like, you'll be able to do the same sort of research. You will find people that are connected to that person, perhaps, and they can make introductions. So, and that's a great way to build your network, to get you having high gain conversations like that. Now, we're almost at the hour, and I think I've been through most of the basics. Have I left anything out that anyone would like to ask about? I know people are going to have to leave on the air. If you have to, that's fine. Thank you for your time and attention. I'm happy to stay on the line for 5 more minutes if anyone would like to ask a question, if that would be helpful at all. Okay. And I can't see anything. If any,
can I just quickly ask?
Please do. Helen.
Hello. What does first, second, and third mean when it shows on the connections? Sometimes when you look, I can't work out what that means.
Okay, so if we are Helen, I'm sorry, Helen, Angela, if we are connected, we would be first line connections.
Right.
That's the first line. If we were connected and Becky was not connected to me, but was connected to you, Becky would be a first line connection of yours, but a second line connection of mine.
Oh, okay. Well, I wondered what that was.
Yeah. And the third line connection is if, let's say, someone else is on the line, Becky Grout. I don't think I'm connected to Becky Grout, let's say, and to my knowledge, you two aren't either. So Becky would be a third line connection, so she's not connected to anyone that we know. She would be a third line connection, so we would have to be a bit more creative, or even just approach directly Becky Grout if we wanted to connect with her for whatever reason that might be. So you've heard of this 6 degrees of separation. You've heard that kind of art, so it's kind of in line with that. We can all trace our roots back to Alfred the Great, or whatever, or Danny Dyer can anyway. Whatever the words are around that. So thank you. Good question. Not been asked that one before. Anything else?
Just thank you very much from me. That's brilliant.
That would be £10,000, please.
Hey, I have a question. Why is it that LinkedIn? Yeah, I have a question. Why is it that LinkedIn becomes kind of a business tools? It was actually it's supposed to be like I don't know. Actually, we'll have to ask LinkedIn, the company itself, how could be evolved with that? Like today, people use it as to the business, or maybe promote or get a job. Get a job is initially how. I don't understand. Can you answer this?
Is Amy, is your question, how do I get business from LinkedIn?
No. I was just wondering why is it that LinkedIn becomes kind of business thing? It was initially a job search kind of thing, isn't it? Sorry.
No, that's a very fair observation. I've been on LinkedIn since 2004. When there were less than 1 million people on there, and now there's 600 million people on LinkedIn around the world, but only 300 million active users. So it has gone, you're right, from almost like an indeed.co.uk, a job search site, to actually, and it still is a really effective job search site, but it's become, in terms of my world of sales, I can do lots of research on someone, lots of research on companies, so that if I turned up to, when Becky lands a big job with Unilever, being EA to Alain Jope, the CEO, I can go in and have a reasonably informed conversation with Becky. I can, you'd be so much more armed with information, if you like. So it has morphed from just a recruitment tool to, if I see Angela's posts on LinkedIn, what she's really interested in, then if I had a service that was of interest to Angela, I could say, I see you're asking for information around this. I'm an expert in this. I'm very happy to have a 15-minute one-to-one chat and see where we go from there. So that might be a way that it's so much more useful than just a job board. It can be a business acquisition tool. So how you set your profile up, and the keywords that you use, Amy, it can be a really good lead generator for you if you use it in the right way. I don't cover that in this. This is very much a back to basics, and that's why, Angela, I'm so pleased to get questions like that, because I do this all the time for sales teams, and I'm surprised at the level of questions that I get. So it's almost as though people want to know about this stuff, but they're too perhaps uncomfortable or embarrassed to ask in public, and so the questions only come out on a gathering like this online in emotional safety, if you like. So please keep your questions coming. Would anyone like to ask anything else?
Thank you. I know this is called basics, so that's why I dare to ask. I know it sounds a bit silly, isn't it? But definitely I got the point. So basically you you connect people online, and then it might be your lead to your sales, maybe.
Absolutely. So if you give value, so if you put a post out online that tells you, I don't know, had a great webinar this afternoon, or this happened last week with this company, they left a really good impression with me, I love their attitude to customer service, a point of view, something with positivity in, and you're kind of giving value. Or if you've been working with someone and you want to give them some tips, then maybe we want to put those tips online. If you're in the customer service, please remember your customer, do the right thing by the customer, loyalty, and your particular point of view on the world. For me, that tells us a bit more about what you stand for, and will lead to you building relationships, because I think that's what LinkedIn is all about, particularly first line relationships, is that people may not have a need for your service right here, right now, but I might be able to help them in some way. And I'm not completely altruistic. Maybe in time, people will sort of say, well, Keith is really good at this. He came back to me maybe this is something I can talk to Keith about. But I believe in you give some value out, particularly this year more than any other, and good things will happen as a result of that. I just firmly believe that. Good question, though, Amy.
Yeah, I believe that too. Yes, thank you, Keith.
You're very welcome. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to go for a lie down in a darkened room now, if that's okay. This has been recorded. If that's okay with you, I'm going to send you a link to the recording just in case you want to go over it again. If you want my email address, I'm keith@salesmarvel.co.uk. That should be on the Eventbrite thing that you've registered on anyway. But I'm always happy to engage on email if you've got any specific questions that you forget to ask. So thank you very much for your time and attention. I've really enjoyed it. Some great questions. And thank you, Becky, for being a good sport and courageous enough to be one of my volunteers. Appreciate it.
Thanks for your time. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Look forward to seeing you posting online as well. And feel free to tag me in if you want some extra coverage. And one thing you'll get from me is an opinion of some kind, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye now.